I used to be super shy. I used to be super shy, and I used to believe that I used to be scared of doing the things that I thought I needed to do. Everything I've been doing today are things that I envisioned 10, 20, 30 years ago. I always knew, I wouldn't say I knew what I wanted to do, but I knew the direction I wanted to take very early in life. But we all come from different walks of life, and we all come from different, you know, different type of population with different types of mentalities and different ways of life. And when I was in Africa growing up, I didn't think about all that. I didn't even listen, when I was 6 months, I was in China with my parents. I was in Paris when I walked the first time. I was in Brussels. My parents were traveling like crazy. My mom was an ex-model turned businesswoman. My dad, a successful politician and a businessman as well. They were already successful by the time I was born. So, in a way, I've always grew up first in the fame of my parents, but also all around the world. And when I decided that singing was my thing, and producing, singing, music, art was the thing I wanted to do, the first thing that stopped me was the fact that my dad didn't agree. African politician, African person. It's like, I didn't get out of the dirt of Mbandaka and walking barefoot and living poor to becoming rich for you to become poor again. That was his I understand. And I respect my parents so much that if I didn't have the green light from my parents to do music, I might not have had a career. I might have just, be in economics or politics or, because I studied at Paris Sorbonne. I studied politics, literature, and economy. And I probably would have done that and maybe, follow the footsteps of my father, even if the shoes are very big to fill. I might have just have done that, you see? And I got the green light. So, but once I got the green light, I end up being surrounded by people who told me everywhere, on every step that I went, that I didn't deserve to rap. My dream was to rap. And they were like, yeah, but every time I would invite people to my house, and people would see that, first of all, I live in Les Beaux Quartiers, like we say in Paris, that I live in the 16th district, where all the rich people go, and that my dad was an ambassador of Congo, and etc. And we had a 400 meter square apartment, and when you are what up, Matt? When you are a kid, you don't really care. I mean, I grew up with Joel. I grew up with Dimitri. I grew up with Yale and Olivier and all of us. We were more or less parts of the good side of Africa, I would say. But we are kids. We don't know. Like, it takes you another 20 years before you understand the implications of who you are and what is your name. And if you're a kid and you have a huge apartment, you have no idea what is the size of the apartments of other people. You you don't know. You don't even think about that. And especially if you go to a private school with other rich kids. When you go to your friends' houses, there are the parents are actors or big captains of industries, or you live among the rich people. So you don't really realize that some people live in the ghetto, or some people live in this very far from the city center, or some people live in very small places, right? Until you arrive to 17, 18, and you start going to parties, you start doing freestyles, you start going to the places where you listen to hip hop, and you want to be in the places where they listen to the music that you love, and you start mixing with, and you go out from your world that is your cocoon, where nobody can harm you. You have a driver, so you don't take the subway. You until you are like 15, 17, 16. You never took the subway, so you don't live the same life as some other people. And so you only, yeah, I was in the 16th. My school was in the 16th as well, at Trocadero. It was a Catholic school where we learned, yeah, Catholic stuff. It was not a mixed school. The after I think after the partir de la sixième. So I don't know how you say in different, but yeah, exactly, the privilege bubble. And the in my school, like after a certain age, I think after 12, the girls were going, the school become just a school for girls, and all the boys have to go to a different private school. So then we went to this American French school called École Active Bilingue. It was not far from Champs-Élysées. And all this was just a bubble where, I mean, usually it was like two black kids in school. We were the superstars because we were different, I guess. All the girls love me, but this is the story of my life. And it's only when I started, me and my sister, we started really diving into hip hop after passing the baccalaureate. And I got my baccalaureate very early. Usually you have it around 18, 19, whatever. At 17, early 17, I was like done with school, getting ready for university. And I start really like taking music seriously with my sister. And now we start going to Trocadero in the beginning and meeting the dancers, and we want to dance, and we start going to parties, and we start meeting rap people. We start going to the rap contest. We start trying to, to be part of these, wow, oh my God. And we at home, when we go to Brussels in the weekends, because we had a house in Paris and another house in Waterloo in Belgium. And when we would go to Waterloo, we would watch Yo MTV Raps. And every time my dad had to go to the United Nations, or he had to go with Mobutu to meet whatever president was on post at that moment, for, we would say, yo, bring us this, bring us that. And he would be like, and for him, like for us here in Paris, those jackets would cost like a lot of money in francs, but in the US, they cost nothing. So my dad would buy us like 20 of them each. So we would have like all the colors of the starters and the shoes, and we would always be trendy in terms of fashion. And yeah, I would walk in the street with a different jacket all the time, where most people could only afford one, but I had no idea. I didn't know nothing about that. And it's only when I started bringing friends home And I started telling people, yeah, hey, let's chill in my house. Every time the other, I mean, not kids because we were teenagers, but every time the people that I met would come to my house, they would look at me differently. And some of them would not care. Some others would feel. I remember one day, I became friends with Linsha in '96, I think, and we would only meet each other outside, not far from her work, because she used to work not far from my house, and we would always meet, have a drink and talk a little bit for an hour or two, and then I would go back home, and she would go back home. And one day I was like, hey, yeah, let's just go home and chill. I have my sisters are there, and we can just, watch TV, chill. And I remember the first time that she came to my house, we have a good night. When she came for the first time in my house, I remember that she was like, why is the door so big? I was like, I never seen another door, frankly, and I've only lived. I mean, every time I was living at my parents' house, it's always been huge houses. So, to me, a huge house is not something that is abnormal. I started living in small houses when I started living in my own house and paying my own rent. But my parents only had, I was born in a huge house. Paris house was big. Congo house is huge. And Brussels house was huge as well. So, and that's interesting. To me, yeah, that was the size of a house, I guess, because I didn't know better. And my friends at school, they also were like sons of kings in kings of emirs in Dubai or in Emirates, or sons of big shots of big names in France and stuff like that. So, or other kids like me from Congo, but they were more in Brussels. Yeah. And yeah, when I would go to my cousins' houses or the people who work with my dad, everybody would have big houses. So yeah, that's all I knew. But when the rapper people start coming to my house, a lot of them had more or less the same reaction as Linsha. Linsha felt offended when she came to my house the first time. And she told me, I remember that she was sad, and I was like, yeah, what's going on? And she was like, oh, I feel offended. You're not like me. I was like, what you mean I'm not like you? Wow, you have a big house, and look at this. You have three living rooms and 10 TVs, and your kitchen is the size of my apartment. And I was like, yeah, but why you feel offended? I mean, I don't know. But who are your parents? Why he has medals, and he's decorated by France, by Belgium, by Congo? What's going on here? And me, I was like, I don't understand why you're offended. Oh, I thought you were like me. I thought you were a normal guy. I'm a normal guy. And then every time I would have rap people come to my house to make beats and stuff, the way to go from the entrance of the apartment until 400 meters square, to go from the entrance until my bedroom to work, for them it was like, yo, what is this? It's a museum? And I was like, no, it's just my house. And a lot of people start changing, and a lot of people start talking. A lot of people start telling, oh, these guys, him and his sister, they rap, but they're not poor. They are, okay. They're not like us. their father is a president of some country or whatever, da 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 da. And all of a sudden, a lot of people became my enemy without me doing nothing to them. And this started tampering with my self-confidence. And you know, you're young, you don't really know like your place in the world yet. You still discovering who you want to be, and you don't want to be a leader. You just want to sing, like it's your passion. And now you have people telling you that because you are not poor, or your parents, because we poor, but because your parents are not poor, you what are you doing here? Why are you in the ghetto with us? Why are you in our parties? Who do you think you are? And us, we just want to sing, like, nah, not you guys. Like, and I had like a few people trying to, so Julie, you sleeping or not? So then you have people, they want to beat you up, even just because they heard about you or for whatever reason. And you don't know because you didn't do nothing to nobody. You are just trying to sing. And some people were not having it. So we start building our own, we start protecting ourselves, of course. And we start deciding like who we would walk with. And a lot of times we would go to places that we didn't realize that we were putting ourselves in danger. Not only because of who our dad was at the time. And yeah, you could be abducted, actually. You know, we never thought about that wherever we were going. But at the same time, sometimes it was dangerous for us because some people were just pissed at you. Then the fact that every time I would do shows, the girls would come in front for me and they would be like, you know, I always attracted women. A lot of people were pissed for that too. Then I start going to Universal all the time because I knew the people who were working there. And every time I would show my music and show my demos, people would tell me, yeah, you know, you rap well, it's nice, but it's in English. It's in English, so we cannot sign you. And I was like, why? Oh, you know, because you're not American. I was like, and I was not understanding why in France there's so much hate for people who rap in English, people who have money, or people who have parents that have money, like if they chose. And I always had conversation with other rappers where they were like, yo, fuck all the people who have money, fuck the rich, fuck the da 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 da. And me, I was like, yeah, but you are rapping. Yeah, what? So you're rapping, now you're trying to have a career. Yeah, you know, I want to sign to Sony or sign to BMJ or sign to Universal or to Warner or maybe Pias. And then once I sign there, you know, I'm going to do my album, then I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to sell a ton of records. Some of them became millionaires, right? And some of them now are superstars of rap in French. And sometimes I sit with them and I'm like, so you rich now? And they're like, yo, man, I make a ton of money. Yeah, you know, hey, we're here, you know, we did it, bro. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, you remember the conversations we had about fuck the rich, da, 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 and where you were like explaining to me in a good way or a bad way that I didn't deserve to make music because my parents have money. So do you believe that your parents don't deserve as well? Your kids, sorry. Do you believe that your kids don't deserve to make music if they want, or whatever job they want? Or do you think they deserve to be hated because their dad is rich? You know? And they all have the same answer. Oh, it's not the same thing, you know. Me, I came from nothing, and you guys, you know, you come and you rap, but you are already. I said, wait a minute. My dad came from nothing as well. My dad was walking barefoot in his Mbandaka Natal in Congo, and he just made his way up through writings, politics, and then with him and the help of his wife, they built their own empire. And when he had kids, what he swore to himself was, first of all, yeah, I want to help everybody in my family as much as I can. And second of all, first of all, my kids will not go through what I had to go through. Because, yeah, I had to sacrifice a lot to be able to read books, or my family had to sacrifice a lot for me to read books. And now I have to, help my whole family. And I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. So, yeah, I'm sending my kids to, back in the days, we didn't have, we went to school in Congo until I think I was 8 years old. And at a point when my father was sent to Europe, yeah, we were there in Europe studying, and then when he went back to become even higher in the government, they yeah, we stayed there because we were in the middle of the thing, and they said, hey, listen, just stay there and study until you finish your studies. So what's the difference between my dad coming from nothing, and not the nothing of Paris, not the nothing of Europe, where you have social security, this, that, and it's hard because there's discrimination, there's sets of problems, but it's not the same nothing as where he came from, where he comes from nothing in Africa, and it's the real nothing, not your fake nothing from France. And so what's the difference between my dad becoming something and you becoming something? When you met me, I was in the same situation as your kids.